it's Megan Roosevelt, your registered dietitian and the founder of HlthyGroceryGrl. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my story, how I became a registered dietitian. After you watch this video, you may want to go watch the video where I share how to become a registered dietitian. But in this video, we're going to get super personal, we're going to chat, so just relax, hang out for a bit, and I'm going to share with you how I became a registered dietitian, where I went to school, kind of my experience, my emotions, my thought process, all that kind of stuff. We're just gonna chat like pals. Like if you were my pal and you said, so how was it to become a registered dietitian? This is what I would share with you. So first of all, let's go way back to when I was in high school. So pretty much my entire growing up, I wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to be an obstetrician, OBGYN, labor and delivery doctor, deliver babies. I also wanted to become an author, I think a rock star, a bunch of other things, but I thought I had a better chance at becoming a doctor than becoming a rock star, and I can't really play instruments. So anyways, I went on the path towards becoming a doctor. But when I started getting into applying for schools, college, I decided, after I looked more into it, that although there are many doctors who can master being a doctor and a mother, I wasn't sure if I personally could do that or wanted that for myself, because I know how many hours doctors work, and having a family one day is really important to me. And a lot of the women in my family were nurses, and so I thought I like that because they usually have kind of less hours that they work per week, longer shifts but less hours, which provides them just more flexible schedule to be home as a mom. So I decided to become a labor and delivery nurse because it was the same field, medical, kind of the same vibe, just less school, less hours, less pay, but I could also be more around as a mama. So that's what I went to school for. And so my freshman year, I went to George Fox University in Oregon. My sophomore year, I decided to actually transfer schools, and I went to Montana State University because you have to go to a school that has nursing programs. You can't just go anywhere. And so Montana State had a nursing program. And you may be wondering, why did you go to Montana State? And at the time, I questioned that myself because I thought, what is in Montana? Why would I leave Oregon and go to Montana? But at the time, my brother was going to school there. I knew a lot of people there. A person I was dating at the time was going to school there. My family was up in Montana all the time. And so it was a natural fit for me to go there. And so I went to Montana State. Started through my nursing school, but a little glitch. I had requested my transcripts to be sent, and somehow there was a little miscommunication and the transcripts did not arrive in time for me to apply to the nursing school portion. So when I was speaking with the nursing kind of supervisor lady, she basically gave me the options that you can wait a year, take some other classes and reapply, or you can switch your degree. And I am not the kind of person that sits around and waits. I am a go-getter, done girl. So I thought, I'm not waiting, I'm gonna switch my degree. So I decided to change my degree from nursing to nutrition. And luckily, so luckily, I transferred schools, and my degree choices were so similar at that point because I was still an undergrad, because the undergrad classes to become a nurse and the undergrad classes to become a dietitian are almost the same. They're really similar because they're both science-based degrees. So at that point, all of my credits had transferred. I was still on track, even though I changed my degree to become to go through in nutrition, so I could still graduate on time. So I went through that process to become finish my bachelor's of science degree in health and human development, food and nutrition, and I completed that in 4 years. And so after that process, then it was time to apply for the internship program. Now I'm gonna be super honest with you guys. I did not get in to my first internship application process. And the reason being is that I was not smart about where I applied. I did not give myself enough options on when I was applying, because certain schools will only take so many people. One of the schools that I applied to only took like three or 3 or 5 interns, which is a really small amount when the acceptance rate is already basically 50%. But I'm a huge believer in everything happens for a reason. So I was, of course, devastated because you have match day, which is when it's the day that it's revealed what internships you get into. And you go, and it's basically like a school day. So you go into your classroom with all your peers and everyone's like, oh, I got into so-and-so, I got into so-and-so. And I'm like one of the few kids who is like, I didn't get in. It was so sad. So in that year, I got a job in a nutrition kind of related job. I worked, saved up money, and I reapplied again. But this time, I was a little bit smarter about where I reapplied for school because there's only so many certain internships that you can apply to. And a lot of them you may have to move because if they're only, let's say it's an internship you really want to go to in Texas or in Ohio, if you're in Oregon, you're going to have to move to that state to go to that internship. Now, I found a program, it's where I went and I absolutely loved it, was Utah State University. I went through their distance internship program. This meant I did not have to move. I could stay in Oregon, which was so important to me because that's where all my family and my friends were, and I just had moved to go to school in Montana, so I didn't want to move again to go to my internship. And so I applied to Utah State University. I got in, which was so exciting. Now, let's step back for a second before I got in, because I almost didn't even finish the application process. Because with distance internship programs, you have to set up all your own rotations. So if you go to kind of an already set up program where you're going there every day, they have it all pre-set up for you, similar to school. But if it's a distance program, they don't have it set it up. They don't have it set up for you. So you have to find a clinical preceptor, a public health preceptor, a food and service systems management preceptor. You basically have to Google, find people who are these directors and managers of things, the dietitians at hospitals, cold call them, email them and say, hey, you don't know me, but would you mind being my preceptor for 3 months or 6 months and for my internship program? And I'm really great, I know you're gonna love me. Here's all the information, that kind of a thing. And basically I got to the point where I had my public health and my food service systems management figured out, but and my outpatient, but I could not for the life of me nail down my clinical inpatient. And I had a dietitian that I was reaching out to, and I know she was super busy, but I was determined. I remember having, like, I'd get up before work because I think, oh, well, I'm gonna catch her right when she gets into the office. So I would call at like 7 and then 7:30 and 8 and, and leave messages and I just wouldn't hear from her. And I remember driving in the car because I had driven out to this was down in like Salem, Oregon. I went out to interview some other place that I thought could possibly work as clinical, but then when I tried to submit it, it didn't work. And that was disappointing. So I remember calling my dad and just crying and telling him, like, maybe this is a sign. Maybe I'm not supposed to do this. It's not happening easily for me. This whole process has been such a struggle because I don't consider myself a naturally smart person. I know I'm a hard worker, and I know if I want to do something, if I work hard enough for it, it can happen. But I'm not someone who just learns something and then I can test on it and get an A on the test. That's not me. I just have to work hard for things. But at this point, it's been 4 years of school, then that 1 year gap, and I was ready to become an RD, and I just couldn't get my clinical rotation figured out. And I remember just crying to my dad, but good thing for parents because he motivated me and encouraged me to just don't give up. And luckily I didn't, because I think shortly, a few days after that, I remember driving in my car and I got a call from the clinical dietitian. She finally called me back and apologized for being so busy. And, I don't know what I was doing, where I was going, but basically it was like, can you come in? I'd like to talk with you and meet you. So I was like, I will be there in 10 minutes. And so luckily I think I was like 10 minutes away, and I went in and I met with her and I talked. And so, package all your internship stuff together. She was on board being my preceptor, sent that off. It has all your your different rotations have to be approved, and then you start the internship process. So already at this point it's a lot of work, right? A lot of determination. Also, in my internship, I applied for a student loan to pay for the internship process. So that's a whole nother situation in and of itself, figuring that all out. But once I was going through the internship, it basically is 40 hours a week of work. And then you also have in the evenings, you know, you have your schoolwork, you have tests and projects you have to be working on and completing. So you basically do not have a social life. You do not have a life. You're just school, 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 working on finishing that up. And then, you know, you finish your internship. And I believe my internship was accelerated because, like I say, I am the get it done girl. If I can go to school for a year or 8, 9, 10 months instead of like a year or two, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the situation where I have no friends, no life, but I get done faster and I can move on with my life than to drag it all out. So that's one thing that I liked about the Utah State University program is I think they really, specifically that program, they cater to individuals who do not want to move. A lot of times if they already have, like maybe they're married and have kids and they don't want to pick up their whole family to go to another state, you can really fit your internship around you because you can speed it up like I did, or you can slow it down if you have, you know, a job and children and family and all of that you have to coordinate. So again, Utah State University, put a link below. That's where I went for my internship program. So to kind of recap myself, George Fox University was just kind of my first year of school. I graduated from Montana State University for my degree, my Bachelor's of Science degree in Food and Nutrition and Dietetics. What did I do all those years? And then I went to Utah State University for my dietetic internship. Okay, so after you do your internship, so then you take the exam. So again, I did not pass the RD exam the first time. I was using a study material that I do not think was very helpful, and I am not a good test taker. I get so nervous, and it's hard for me to read the questions. Like sometimes, especially if a question's like a double negative, or I get so caught up on the words. And like I said, I don't consider myself a super smart person, although you need to be smart to become a dietitian because it's a science-based degree. It's very, very smart. Obviously, I got through it. I got mostly A's and B's in school, but I had to work so hard for that. And so, you know, I'm studying, and I also think I took the exam too quickly. And so I think the reasons why I did not pass the first time is I didn't study long enough and I did not have the right study materials. And I thought, well, I had just done school, I had gone to my internship, it's all in here, right? I can take the exam. I took the exam, I did not pass. And I remember, like I'm gonna cry just thinking about this, going back to those emotions. I remember walking to the bathroom and going in the stall, sitting on the toilet, and just looking at that piece of paper that says, like, you did not pass, and just crying. Because you work so hard, and you put in so much effort. And it's just such a letdown. But you do not give up. So I reached out to some of my friends from my internship who did pass, and I asked them, what study materials did you use? And they let me know what they use, and I believe it's the Jean Inman Study Guide is what it is. That's what I used the second time around, and it made such a big difference. It was so organized. It had an audio portion, it had the written portion, so I could listen and I could read and listen at the same time. It had practice tests, and what I did is I was so much more organized. I scheduled my test, and then I made this calendar for myself of all the different categories you're going to get tested on, and all the study materials of what information I needed to get through each day, basically kind of Monday through Friday, to be prepared by test time, and also take a couple days off before the test so that I wasn't too stressed or anything like that. And so I remember that morning, I remember being in the shower and just praying like, Lord, I know you'll give us the desires of our hearts. The desire of my heart is to pass this exam. And I just remember feeling kind of peace and calmness as I was driving to take the test. And I remember taking the test, and then it tells you right away if you passed or you failed. And all of a sudden it popped up, and when I was finished, and it said, congratulations, you've passed the registered, dietitian exam. And I was just trying to contain all of my excitement, and you walk out of the room and you get your information. And it was downtown Portland in Oregon that I took this exam, so I was parked down the street and I had to walk to my car. And I remember getting in my car and just turning on the music and driving, and I was just screaming. I was like, whoa, yeah, I passed. And I was just I guess, you know, it's probably not the safest thing driving. I had one hand on, but I was just like, yeah, woo, I was so excited, like just screaming in the car, because after at that point had it been, okay, 4, 5, 6, I don't know, it had been years, and it's just such a good feeling. I mean, you put so much money, time, emotion, energy, brain space into becoming a registered dietitian. It's not a quick path. It's not a cheap path. But it is such a rewarding career. I remember my mom telling me, and I always hold on to this, you will never regret having those RD credentials. You did it. Just like if someone becomes an RN, you will never regret being a registered nurse and having those credentials after your name. You earned that. And everybody's path is different. And some people, they just, you know, go fly right through it, one after the other. For me, my life has actually not always been, my life has not been easy. And I know that sometimes that perception can come across because it's easy to judge people on the internet or whatever and assume things about people, but I've had a lot of trials in my life, and even my RD path was not simple. You know, I failed and I retried, and I failed and I retried. But if you want to become a registered dietitian, I know it sounds like quite a process, but that feeling in the car of being like, you did it, you don't give up, and you can achieve things. You just keep going and you can do it. You can accomplish things if you don't give up, and if it's in your heart and you want it, you can do it. And that is so worth it. So if you want to become a registered dietitian, or you want to do anything in life, any profession, like, you go for it and you will not regret it. And that's my story. That's how I became a registered dietitian. I know I get emotional about things because it's, you know, it's a big part of your life. Choosing your career path is a big part of your life. And I just am an emotional person. I have feelings and I feel things, and that's just me. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed learning more about that path. Before we wrap it up, I do want to transition a little bit to talk about what happens next in my story after becoming an RD, so I guess we'll go there now. So after passing that exam, what did I do? I applied for jobs. So I remember applying literally for 45 different jobs, anything related. Just secretary at a health-related office, of course applying for RD jobs at hospitals. I mean, I remember applying for a dishwashing job at a hospital because I thought that somebody would say, good job at washing those dishes, tell me more about yourself. And I'd say, oh, well, I'm actually a registered dietitian. And they would say, oh, well, you should not be washing dishes. Come over here, become part of our team. Like, I don't know, that was what was going through my head. But I did not get that job. And I only had 2 interviews out of like 45 applications, and I didn't even want either of the jobs, but of course I took them because I needed a job. And I'm sure that energy, you know, I feel like I'm very professional and I do a great job in interviewing, but it wasn't meant to be for me to get those jobs. And I'm sure whatever that energy that I didn't want the job somehow came through because I didn't get them. So I remember having no job, and I think I nannied. I always was a babysitter or nannied through college, and any pocket of life I would pick up these nannying and babysitting jobs because they're a great job. Help family out, get paid, it's fantastic. Cute kids most of the time. And so I remember feeling like, okay, and I was going through a really hard time in my life. It's a whole nother story. And I remember feeling very kind of depressed at that time in my life and thinking, my personal life is incredibly depressing right now, what I was personally going through. I cannot also go to work and be depressed every day. Like, I need to be excited when I wake up, and what I need to do needs to excite me because you just can't walk around being depressed all the time. So at the time I was living in my aunt's basement, actually, and I remember thinking, what is it that you love? What do you love to do? And I knew that I love to help people be healthier, talk with them about making better dietary choices. I really love the grocery store. I love finding new products, discovering them. I like making mealtime easier by using healthier products. I like I had a strange fascination with people's pantries. Like when I was a nanny, I was always like, ooh, what's in your pantry? Let me organize it for you. And look, oh, your fridge, you need groceries? I'll go to the grocery store for you. Like I just love all that. So I thought I should just kind of start my own thing. I'll start personal coaching people. And I remember it was nighttime, and I remember feeling like, who's gonna listen to you? You're a young blonde gal. No one's gonna take you seriously. Like no one's gonna pay you money, to start your own business. Like you don't even have a business degree. You barely paid attention in your business class in undergrad, because I remember telling myself, like, I'm never gonna have my own business. I don't really need to pay attention too much in this class, and which I probably should have, because clearly I have a business now. And I remember sitting on the couch and feeling God tell me, trust me. And I know that everyone believes in different things, but this is my personal story, so I'm just sharing with you what I believe. And I remember feeling the name, that HlthyGroceryGrl. I just remember feeling that name, HlthyGroceryGrl. And I thought, that's a dumb name. It's hard to say. It's 3 words. It's not short. But I know that I wanted it to be something that could be a name that described a business, but also that was kind of me at the same time. And so I came up with a big list of all these other names that I thought would be better. But I came back to HlthyGroceryGrl. But anyways, I won't go too much longer into this story, but basically I felt completely inadequate to start a business, but I felt that God told me to do it anyways. And so I trusted that, and I moved forward, and I created my own little website. It was really bad, but I had one, and I made a bunch of flyers and little business cards, and I just told everybody I know, this is what I'm doing now. And of course, then I got some coaching appointments, mostly through friends of family and people, and then it just kind of grew from there. And just evolved year after year. I mean, my business is 5.5 years now, but it went from personal coaching, people one-on-one, now moving into this digital company that we have, which is creating videos and producing content online, to our membership website, to, now being in media communications and being a spokesperson, and I'm an internationally published author now. Like a lot has happened in the past 5.5 years. Our business continues to grow, and it's a lot of work. My husband now works with me full-time at HlthyGroceryGrl. But, when I started my business, I had like 4 jobs at one time, because I was running HlthyGroceryGrl. I was still a nanny. I was able to get a really part-time job at a health club. And then I also was working as an independent contractor for kind of this wellness company. I basically was like, you want to pay me to do something? Yes, like obviously health related, but it was like, and babysitting, but it's like, I just was like, I need to work, and I just worked, and my thought was, I'm young, I'm not married yet, I don't have kids, now is the time when I'm going to work as much as possible. And I work, and eventually got to the point where I felt like my business was being stalled, because I constantly had to stop what I was doing to then go into work, my kind of day jobs. And eventually I decided, if HlthyGroceryGrl is ever going to get where it needs to be, then I need to quit these jobs, and I need to just do HlthyGroceryGrl 100% full time. So that was definitely a pay cut to quit those jobs and just invest in HlthyGroceryGrl. But it continues to grow every year and continues to just become more and more of what I want it to be. We are not where we're not where I want to be, but we're more there every single day. We continue to just grow organically. And so for you, if you want to become a dietitian, there's a lot of typical dietitian jobs you can go into: clinical outpatient, dialysis, work in a school district, a fitness club. You can open your own private practice or work for a private practice. There's so many jobs today, supermarket, RD, there's so many jobs today for dietitians. But if you also want to start your own thing and start your own career, you can do it. I did it. I don't have a business degree. I'm just a very determined person. I believe that I'm creative, and I think that allows me to have ideas. I know I'm somebody that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so not only just having ideas, but you have to be the kind of person who then takes action upon those ideas. But I'm such a believer, and if you want to do something, you can do it. You just got to work for it. The working part is the hardest part. So that's I shared quite a bit of my story there, and I know I get a lot of emails from you guys and questions on social media, and so I know this video was long, but I really hope that kind of being able to sit down and chat together like this was helpful for you. You can hear my story. You can learn that I am not perfect and I did not pass everything right away and get in, right away to an internship program, and, but hopefully hearing my story has encouraged you or inspired you if you want to become an RD. And if not, we just got to know each other a little bit more. So thank you guys so much for watching. Now is the time where if you have any other questions that I did not answer in this video, you can leave them in the comment section below. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you're not subscribed yet to Healthy Grocery Girl, it would mean the world of me. Just click that subscribe button. It's totally free. And I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Again, thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roosevelt, your registered dietitian, and I will see you guys in the next video.